The vast, untamed expanse of Arizona, with its towering pines and unforgiving wilderness, often feels like a world apart, a place where the ancient whispers of the earth still hold sway. It was within this rugged remoteness, a landscape both breathtaking and isolating, that Travis Walton, a young logger, carved out a living. His days were spent alongside a tight-knit crew, men bound by sweat, shared labor, and the ever-present scent of pine and sawdust. There was Mike Rogers, the crew boss, a man whose friendship with Travis ran deep, forged through years of backbreaking work. Ken Peterson, John Goulet, Steve Pierce, Alan Dallas, and Dwayne Smith completed their ranks, a band of blue-collar brothers united by the common goal of earning an honest wage. Their camaraderie was palpable, a necessary shield against the relentless demands of their profession, though beneath the surface, like any group of men working closely, minor tensions and personal conflicts occasionally simmered, only to be quickly smoothed over by the rhythm of their daily grind. One fateful evening, as the sun began its slow descent, painting the western sky in hues of fiery orange and deep violet, the crew packed up their gear. The long day was done, and the promise of a hot meal and rest beckoned. Mike's truck, a dusty, worn testament to countless miles on logging roads, rumbled along the winding path leading out of the forest. Suddenly a light pierced the twilight gloom. It wasn't the familiar glow of civilization, but an incandescent, almost ethereal source that hung suspended above the distant treetops. Initial reactions ranged from dismissive curiosity to nervous jokes, but as the object descended with an unnerving grace, growing larger and more distinct with each passing second, a palpable unease settled over the truck's occupants. Travis, a man known for his impulsive bravery, perhaps fueled by a youthful sense of invincibility, made a decision that would forever alter his life and the lives of those around him. Before anyone could react, he flung open the truck door and leaped out, driven by an irresistible urge to get a closer look. The crew watched in stunned silence, their hearts pounding in their chests. What happened next was a blur of terrifying motion. A brilliant beam of light shot forth from the hovering object, striking Travis with an almost physical force. He was flung backward, a puppet cut from its strings, landing motionless on the forest floor. Panic erupted inside the truck. Primal fear, cold and unreasoning, seized the men. Mike, torn between an overwhelming instinct for self-preservation and the desperate urge to help his friend, made a split-second decision. He slammed his foot on the accelerator and the truck lurched forward, abandoning Travis in the deepening shadows. The ride to Snowflake, Arizona, was a blur of guilt, shock, and frantic, disjointed debate. Accusations and justifications mingled with the raw terror of what they had witnessed. Mike's internal struggle was agonizing. Had he abandoned his friend, or had he acted out of a desperate, albeit cowardly, need to survive? Upon arriving in Snowflake, the crew, still reeling, stumbled into the local sheriff's office. Their story, wild and unbelievable, was met with immediate disbelief and suspicion. The sheriff and townspeople, accustomed to the mundane dramas of rural life, eyed them with skepticism, hinting at accusations of murder or a clumsy cover-up. To quell the growing doubts, the crew underwent polygraph tests, but the results, inconclusive for some and raising more questions than answers, only fueled the public's suspicion. A massive search effort was launched involving local law enforcement, volunteers, and Travis's distraught family. The unforgiving Arizona wilderness swallowed their efforts, offering no trace of the missing logger. The emotional toll on Travis's mother and his girlfriend Dana was immense, their hope dwindling with each passing fruitless day. The media, drawn by the sensational nature of the story, descended upon Snowflake, painting the crew as liars, murderers, or worse. As the days bled into nights, the hope for Travis's survival diminished, and the pressure on Mike and the entire crew intensified. The town was gripped by suspicion, and the once strong bond between the men began to fracture under the crushing weight of accusation. Was Travis truly taken by something otherworldly, or was there a darker, more earthly explanation for his disappearance? Before we continue, subscribe to the channel and tell us in the comments where you are watching from. 5 agonizing days later, Just as hope threatened to extinguish completely, a miracle unfolded. Near Heber, Arizona, a small, rural community not far from the site of his disappearance, Travis Walton materialized. Disoriented, confused, and stark naked, he stumbled onto a deserted roadside, a ghostly figure under the pale moonlight. A passing motorist, recognizing the gaunt, wild-eyed man from the frantic news reports, slammed on the brakes, his heart leaping into his throat. He quickly contacted Travis's family, setting in motion a chain of events that would electrify the nation. The initial reunion was a maelstrom of emotions. Overwhelming relief washed over Travis's mother and Dana, his girlfriend, yet it was intertwined with a profound confusion and a chilling fear emanating from Travis himself. He was alive, but irrevocably changed. Travis struggled immensely to recall the events immediately following the blinding flash. His mind was a fractured landscape, pieces missing, others distorted by terror. His first conscious memories were a jarring assault on his senses. A strange, brightly lit room, clinical and devoid of familiar warmth, surrounded by beings that were undeniably non-human. These creatures, with large, dark eyes and slender bodies, moved with an unsettling grace, their presence evoking a primal fear that burrowed deep into his soul. He remembered the overwhelming sense of disorientation, the chilling realization of being observed, examined, and utterly vulnerable. The alien environment, so foreign and terrifying, imprinted itself upon his psyche. Then, another hazy memory flickered. An escape, or perhaps a rescue, facilitated by other figures, seemingly more human-like in their appearance, who led him through unfamiliar corridors before his abrupt return to Earth. The details were elusive, frustratingly just beyond his grasp, yet the emotional impact was searingly real. Travis's unbelievable story immediately ignited a media firestorm, attracting national and international attention. The small town of Snowflake, already reeling from the initial disappearance, found itself thrust into the global spotlight. The public was sharply divided, their reactions ranging from fervent belief to cynical skepticism. Believers championed his account as undeniable proof of extraterrestrial visitation, while skeptics, including many scientists, dismissed it as a hallucination, a hoax, or a desperate cry for attention. Accusations of fabricating the story for fame or profit were hurled at Travis, turning him from a victim into a public spectacle. UFO investigators swarmed the area, poring over every detail, while the scientific community debated the plausibility of his claims, each side armed with their own convictions. Travis's return provided a measure of vindication for Mike Rogers and the logging crew, lifting the crushing weight of suspicion that had threatened to tear them apart. The accusations of murder or cover-up began to recede, replaced by a grudging acceptance that something extraordinary had indeed transpired. Yet lingering doubt persisted in many corners, fueled by the sheer incredulity of Travis's narrative. To further validate his claims, Travis himself underwent polygraph tests, mirroring the scrutiny his crew had faced. The results, like those of his friends, became a new source of controversy, with proponents proclaiming his honesty and detractors questioning the reliability of the tests themselves in such an extraordinary context. The emotional reunion between Travis and Mike was heavy with unspoken words. Relief mingled with the deep-seated guilt Mike carried for fleeing, and the shared trauma of the incident bound them in a way no ordinary friendship ever could. Their lives, and the lives of the entire crew, were irrevocably altered. Travis grappled intensely with the psychological impact of his ordeal. The vivid, terrifying memories haunted his waking hours and invaded his dreams, making it almost impossible to integrate back into a normal life. His relationship with Dana, already strained by the initial disappearance and the agonizing wait, was further tested by the relentless public scrutiny and the profound, isolating nature of his experience. The constant demands for interviews, the whispers, the stares, all chipped away at their privacy and intimacy. The entire crew, though no longer suspected of foul play, struggled with the aftermath. Their easy camaraderie had been shattered, replaced by a lingering unease and the indelible mark of having witnessed the impossible. Despite Travis's return, the mystery deepened. His vivid, terrifying memories of alien abduction were met with a wall of disbelief, turning him from a victim into a public spectacle. As he tried to reconcile his horrific experience with the world's skepticism, the question remained, what truly happened in the Arizona wilderness? And will Travis ever find peace or full understanding of his ordeal? Life after the incident became an ongoing struggle for Travis, a constant battle against the psychological impact of what he had endured. The quiet logger, once content with the rhythms of the Arizona forest, found himself thrust into an unwanted spotlight. He poured his experiences, the fragmented memories, and the raw terror into words, eventually publishing his account as The Walton Experience, later revised and retitled Fire in the Sky. Yet, selling books and recounting his story at conferences did little to ease the profound challenges of maintaining a semblance of normal life. Every interaction, every new acquaintance, seemed to hinge on the extraordinary event that had defined him. His relationships with family and friends were forever altered. Some, like his mother, remained steadfast pillars of support, while others, unable to reconcile his claims with their own understanding of reality, slowly drifted away, leaving a void. The Travis Walton Incident, despite decades passing, remains one of the most famous and fiercely debated UFO abduction cases in history. Its enduring nature is a testament to the raw power of Travis's story and the fundamental human fascination with the unknown. Countless investigations, analyses, and documentaries have emerged over the years, each attempting to unravel the enigma. These efforts often present conflicting evidence and interpretations, fueling the controversy rather than resolving it. From dedicated UFO investigators seeking validation for their field to skeptical scientists meticulously dissecting every claim, and zealous debunkers attempting to expose a hoax, each group played a significant role in shaping the narrative, ensuring the incident's continued presence in public consciousness. Travis, somewhat reluctantly, became an accidental spokesperson for the UFO community. His presence at conferences, his willingness to share his deeply personal and often painful story, provided a human face to a phenomenon frequently relegated to the fringes of science fiction. His unwavering belief in his experience, despite the relentless ridicule and skepticism he faced, became a cornerstone of his identity. It wasn't just about recounting events, it was a personal quest for validation, a desperate search for understanding of what truly happened to him in those 5 lost days, and what it meant for humanity's place in the universe. He sought not fame, but an acknowledgement of a truth that felt undeniably real to him. The long-term effects reverberated through the lives of Mike Rogers and the other crew members as well. They were forever linked to the incident, their names synonymous with the disappearance and return of Travis Walton. The trauma of that night, the fear, the guilt, and the subsequent public scrutiny cast a long shadow over their lives, changing their perspectives and their relationships with each other and their community. The small, tight-knit community of Snowflake, Arizona, once a quiet rural town, found itself etched into the annals of UFO lore. The event became an intrinsic part of its identity, a local legend whispered among generations, a reminder of the night the ordinary was shattered by the extraordinary. The Travis Walton story stands as a powerful exploration of belief versus disbelief, a stark illustration of humanity's inherent fear of the unknown. It delves into the profound psychological impact of experiencing something utterly beyond comprehension and the immense difficulty of conveying such a truth to a world demanding tangible proof. The dramatic tension lies precisely in the chasm between Travis's deeply personal, visceral truth and the world's insatiable demand for irrefutable evidence. Decades later, the Travis Walton incident continues to defy easy explanation, a stubborn anomaly in the tapestry of our understanding. While Travis has found a measure of peace in sharing his story and connecting with others who resonate with his experience, the definitive truth remains elusive. Was it an alien abduction, a shared hallucination brought on by collective stress, or something else entirely, a phenomenon yet to be understood? The story concludes not with a definitive answer, but with the enduring power of a man's incredible claim and the unsettling, pervasive possibility that we are not alone, leaving the audience to ponder the ultimate mystery.